Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. My name is Bethany. We as scrapbookers love to capture memories. We want to preserve our history and create pages that have emotion and mood. I know how to do all of those things with one indispensable tool, my camera. I have lots of tips, tricks, and techniques to show you today to take your photos and your layouts to the next level. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the backgrounds of our photos. Let me show you a picture here. This is a picture of Russell's mom, Zoellen. This is a nice picture. She has a nice expression on her face, and she is the subject because she's up here front and center, but there's lots of stuff going on around her. Most scrapbookers would crop the photo like this. If you had a little T-square, you would want to crop out that distracting element. It just doesn't support the subject. Now I want to show you a photo I took 10 seconds later of Zodi. This picture, I used 4 basic principles of photography to achieve this photo. Crop before you shoot. Make sure you look at the background of your photo. Look to see what's around them. Do they have a pole growing out of their head? See if elements support or detract from what your main subject is, and really simplify the subject. The next thing I did is I got up close and personal. Take a few steps forward. When you get up close and personal, you automatically crop out some background. So if you're really wanting to have a nice portrait, make sure you do that. Another thing I did was I changed my angle. I didn't want the pole growing out of Zodi's head, so I stepped over to the side and took her picture from that angle. If you can't move your subject just slightly. It can be mere inches and you could get a completely different photograph. The fourth thing I did is something that's kind of hard to explain, but once you have it, it's like riding a bike. It's called the rule of thirds. I have this transparency here that I have divided. This is 4x6 size. I've divided it into 3 sections. There's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. The rule of thirds is a rule of placement. This one, you can see that Zodi's eyes are almost a third of the way down on the photo, and the rest of her head is in the very top part of the photo, the top third. If I had placed her here in the middle, there would have been all this headroom. Just imagine that. There would have been so much headroom. We would have had lots of stuff going on here at the top that I would have had to crop out anyway. This one is the original one I showed you of Zodi. And I'm going to show you where she is in the middle. She is basically in this middle section. All of this surrounding her is clutter, and this isn't supporting the focal point that I wanted to. I have some more examples to show you, but first I want to show you a scrapbook page that I did with this same type of principle. Here's a page I did, and I took this picture, and when I got it back from the developer, I was kind of disappointed because it's not a bad picture, but he gets lost in all of this clutter all the way around him. This is the next picture I took. This one I wanted to make my main subject of my photo. I used those 4 principles. I cropped before I shot. I took out all of that competing background. His hat almost frames his face. I changed my angles, and I also used the rule of thirds. You'll notice, this picture's a little bit bigger than this, but you'll notice that Colin's eyes are in the top section of this photo. If his eyes had been in the middle, there would have been lots of headroom. It might not have been my focal point photo. Here's another photo. This one is of Benjamin. I put Benjamin at this top cross section of this meeting point right here. I simplified this photo. There's not a lot of clutter going on in the background. Now remember, this is not a die-hard rule. This is very subjective. It's very design oriented. This is how you want to make it, but I want to just give you these tips to make your photos look even better. So now we're going to look at another layout I did. This one is a picture that Russell took, this photo, and I wanted to create a kind of a sleepy time, page about getting ready for bed. Now, this picture, I like this picture. This is a good photo. This one, however, really spoke to me. The mood matched my idea for the scrapbook page a lot better. It's easy to scrapbook a black and white photo because you can choose whatever colors you want to, put on your page. This one, Russell really used those 4 principles really well. He cropped before he shot. He cropped out everything. We are so close in here. There's nothing to focus on but me reading to my 2 sweet little boys. He also changed his angle a little bit so where he could really see the boys looking at the book. and it just really comes together. Now you're probably thinking, well, I liked this photo and I don't want to toss them, heaven forbid, or just file it away in a photo album never to be seen again. What I did was I printed it out much smaller and put it on my scrapbook page under a layer of shrink plastic. If you don't have that, you can use vellum. That way it toned down that color so I could still use it on my scrapbook page. So use your photos as embellishments as well. I have one more example to show you, and then we're going to create a scrapbook page. We just got a new fort last year, and Colin was so excited about it that I wanted to make a scrapbook page about his happiness at getting this new fort and getting to play on it. And this is the picture I took. And this is a good picture. It shows the fort. It has 2 slides. It's actually really fun. But really, I wanted to capture his face, and I couldn't do that from this angle. So let me show you the next picture I took, which is this photo. This photo, I used all of those 4 principles. I cropped before I shot. I got up close and personal. He is definitely the main subject. There's nothing surrounding him that's distracting. I changed my angle. Instead of being on the side of the slide, I was down the slide so I could see him actually coming down it. The last thing I did was I used the rule of thirds. This photo is a little bit bigger as well, but I'll center this and you can see that Colin is definitely in the top third. There's nothing in the middle. If he had been here, then all of this would have been headroom that I would have had to crop out. So now let's create a page using this picture. The first thing we're going to do is I have just an 8.5 by 11 cream colored cardstock, and I cut down some 12 by 12 pattern paper to 8.5 by 11. Now what we're going to do is layer on our photo right here at the top. I also have a journaling block. I sanded the edges. I just freehand cut this. And then what we're going to do is put on 2 more photos of the fort right here. Now what I want to do, here's one that I've already adhered all of those things. And you can see that I also put some photo corners. I love to use photo corners here in the bottom and here at the top. It's not, ooh, fort. I want to put new fort. And so I have these chipboard letters right here, and I wanted to ink them and make them red because I think, red's a good accent really well with his shirt. Now I'm going to paint this chipboard letter. And you think, well, why ink it first? Really, the inking shows through to where it actually almost has kind of 2 colors. So it looks distressed, it's just in a little different way. So now this is self-adhesive, and I'm just going to put it down right here. These 4 principles are really great, even for basic, amateur, and beginning photographers. They are cropped before you shoot, get up close and personal, change your angles, and use the rule of thirds. I promise if you go out and practice these, even with a disposable camera, you can use these with a basic camera. Get out and practice, and I promise your pages and your photos will shine even more. See you next time.
For step-by-step instructions on how to create this week's project, download the design guide featuring special make-it-your-own bonus tips.